Today on Monkey Life, the Siamangs move out to make way for Tien and his new friend Kim. But it's not plain sailing.
Just a bit of a waiting game at the moment.
Squirrel monkey Charlie gives the girls a run for their money.
They're a pretty fierce mob to contend with.
And it's all change with the woolly monkeys, as Lena and Milo head for pastures new. Monkey World in Dorset, set deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
The animals aren't being kept appropriately, so they need to go.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes. Its aim is to give them as happy and natural a life as possible. Golden-cheeked gibbons Peanut and Peng Yo have 3 children: Tien, Tianang and Tio. But today their eldest son is leaving home. 7-year-old Tien was born at the park, but he's got to an age where he needs to spread his wings and go it alone. The team have decided to pair him up with 5-year-old Kim. She's a bit young to be leaving her mum Zoe and dad Jake, but staff think she's the best choice as a mate for Tien. Tien and Kim need their own enclosure, which has proved difficult because the only free space is next door to Peanut and Peng Yo. This wouldn't work for Tien, as he'd still be able to see his parents. And besides, golden-cheeked gibbons are territorial, so having 2 families of the same species next to each other is never a good idea. So, after a lot of thought, the team have decided to move them to the current Siamang gibbon enclosure, which is over the other side of the park, and move Sam and Sasak out so they'll live next door to Peanut. The team want the move to be carried out as quickly as possible to avoid any unnecessary stress to the gibbons. Sam and Sasak are first on their list. They need to coax them from their house into the tunnel and then into the travelling crates.
Off you go. You ready? You happy? Say you're happy.
Yeah, I'm happy.
All right. It's your fault if it goes wrong.
Sam ventures into the tunnel.
Good boy.
But can't be tempted into the crate. He knows something's up. It could just be that he's not used to going in a crate, but he's definitely not keen.
It's a stalemate at this stage, isn't it?
It's not just Sam who's proving tricky. At the other end of the park, Tien is being equally elusive.
Hi, Tien.
As they're swapping enclosures, the moves have to be carried out simultaneously. Tien has been tempted into the tunnel with a treat, but will he fall for the trick a second time?
Tien.
So, stalemate here too. Back at the Siamang house, Sam is still refusing to play ball.
Just a bit of a waiting game. I mean, obviously he's apprehensive. He has done this before, you know. We have moved the Siamangs in this way before, so, you know, he knows what's happening, and obviously there's no way of letting him know that he's going to a fabulous new enclosure, and he's quite happy here. So he's obviously wondering a bit what's going on. Still confident that we're going to get there, but yeah, just a bit of a waiting game at the moment.
Jeremy decides to take matters into his own hands and goes around the other side of the tunnel.
Just come in here. Come on, buddy.
Reluctantly, Sam moves forward.
You get him? Does it keep going, Kate? Oh, well done. Well done, Kate.
10 points.
He's in.
1 down, 3 to go.
With Sam in his crate, the pressure is on to get Tien to cooperate too. He has gone a little further and he toys with the crate, but he's not convinced. If the team are to stay on course with this move, they're going to have to come up with another plan. The gibbons aren't the only ones moving around. It's all change at the squirrel monkey enclosure too. The three feisty females, Samantha, Topsy and Turvy, are now living with new boy Charlie. Charlie was yet another victim of the British pet trade. He was rescued from an office at a car wash in London a year ago. When he arrived at the park, he was put in with the other squirrel monkeys. And at first, everything was harmonious. But he proved popular with the girls. And after a while, Topsy, Turvy and Samantha turned on the other male, Fidget, and decided to try to oust him in favour of Charlie. Fidget was an old man, and so the team decided it would be kinder to move Charlie out of the enclosure for a while. Sadly, Fidget has recently passed away, so Charlie has rejoined the group.
Charlie's been waiting in the wings up in the marmoset house with other primates alongside of him to sort of keep him interested and occupied. And now with Fidget passing, it means a new lease on life for Charlie, who we've brought down to the house, and he's gone in with the ladies, and the ladies are happy out catching insects. Charlie is over the moon with his 3 ladies and his big new enclosure full of insects, and life is back to normal at the squirrel monkey house. So as one life passes, another one enters the fray, and sad to miss Fidget, but pleased for Charlie at the same time.
Because Charlie is so much younger than the girls, the enclosure has had to be reinforced to cope with his boundless energy.
There is quite an age difference in this group of squirrel monkeys now. All of the ladies are older. They're in their early 20s and quite set in their ways. And Charlie is just a young teenage lad. He's probably only about 2.5 to 3 years old now. And he's just full of life. Bouncy, leaping into everything, having an opinion about everything. So it'll be interesting to see. Does the teenage lad sort of overwhelm the older ladies, or do the older ladies just get that teenage boy under the thumb? My bet's going to be on those ladies, because they're a pretty fierce mob to contend with.
The park's newest resident is having a special visitor today. Baby marmoset Leo arrived 8 days ago in a terrible state, having been rescued by the RSPCA. His spine is damaged and he has problems walking. The team are keen for wildlife vet John Lewis to have a look at him.
So he uses his hind legs more like a rabbit than anything, does he?
Yeah, they've got a little bit better, I'd say, over the past couple of days, but generally it's kind of a hopping motion.
And his appetite?
Good.
Hello.
Leo is another victim of the British pet trade. His previous owner didn't know how to look after him and fed him an inappropriate diet.
I think I would let him settle in for longer, because that is classic, absolutely classic, what they used to call cage paralysis, which is nutritional bone disease. This is a very, very typical clinical picture of an animal deprived of the correct vitamins and a good supply of calcium. And he's hopping around like a rabbit, and that's probably because of distortions in the spine, lower spine and pelvis, and possibly hips too. Certainly the diet needs correcting. He's a very young animal, which means that you will get a degree of correction of his shape, and hopefully he'll end up not hopping around like a rabbit, but he may end up moving with a bit of an arched back. But that will be a big improvement over what you have for the moment.
The park tries to put new arrivals in with other monkeys as soon as possible to begin their rehabilitation. But because of his poor physical health, they're going to have a different approach for Leo.
And if you put him in, say, the cage next to me here with branches and trees and so on, he probably would want to follow the others around, but the danger there is he'd fall. And then, of course, if he starts falling, he could do himself more damage. You can turn soft bones into folded bones, or very brittle bones into broken bones.
So, for the time being, Leo is going to have to stay on his own.
If you can get him to a situation where he can cope with branches and trees and so on, slowly, even if he's a bit arched in the back, then he'd live a perfectly fine life here. you know, without being at great risk.
Leo has made good progress since he's been here, but there's still a long way to go. Coming up, it's crunch time when Tien finally meets his new mate.
He's a little bit nervous and shy. Little Kim has just fronted him up.
And Chimp Rodders pushes Lulu to the limit. After the standoff at the Siamang enclosure, Sam is finally safely in his carrying crate. The team are hoping his mate Sasak will prove a little more cooperative.
She's in the tunnel.
With Sam gone, Sasak obviously doesn't see the point in staying in the house on her own and walks straight in. Blankets are put over their cages to help keep them calm during the short journey. So one part of the move is going well. But at Peanut's enclosure, it's a different story. The team are still trying to lure Tien into his crate. Sam and Sasak have arrived next door, but they can't be let out until Tien has been boxed up. Finally, progress. It takes a group effort to get Tien to take the last couple of steps into his crate.
Good boy! Good boy! He's definitely in. His hands here. Yeah, 100%.
With Tien on his way to the old Siamang enclosure, Sam and Sasak finally get to see their new residence.
Good boy. Here you go, buddy. Here you go.
Sam is more than happy to escape his crate. But Sasak, who is normally the brave one, has suddenly been hit by nerves. Sam is waiting for her. She tentatively makes her way inside.
That's the Siamangs into their new house down at Support, and we've got Tien in the box, so going to take him up to the Siamang house. Yeah, nearing the finish line, and we're doing, I think, pretty well time-wise considering.
While Sam and Sasak explore their new, larger playroom, Tien has arrived at their old house, unaware he's about to get a new friend. The team don't know how they'll react to each other, so have decided to let the youngsters meet through the mesh first of all. This is a massive change for both of them.
Come on, Kim. Hi, sweetie. Hi. All right, guys.
Tien seems excited but nervous. Kim, on the other hand, is taking it all in her stride.
Little Kim has just gone straight up to Tien, fronted him up, her face up against hers. He's a little bit nervous and shy, but fine. And touch wood, we have a beautiful new couple.
Tien doesn't know what to make of Kim. And when she gets closer, he's off. But unperturbed, Kim perseveres. Tien blanks her again. It's all a bit much for him. Maybe he's not as ready for romance as he thought he was. He makes a break for it, but Kim is hot on his heels. He just can't get away from her. However, Kim's boldness bodes well for the future.
It's just fantastic. The introductions have gone better than we could have even hoped for, and I'm hopeful that this pair will sort of settle down in the next couple of days, and then we can consider letting them out into the trees, which will be a big step, especially for little Kim, because she's never been out in the trees yet.
All the primates at the park are at their happiest when they're outside. None more so than Rodders, but today he's getting on everyone's nerves. Over the last few weeks, Sally's chimp house has been rebuilt as it was in need of a serious overhaul. While the finishing touches are being made, the chimps are outside. Sally and Ash are quite happy with their own company. But Rodders is looking for a playmate, and that always spells trouble. Brian is too busy to play silly games with Rodders. He's a growing lad and decides his time would be better spent practicing his displays. The others are supposed to take notice of him while he's all puffed up. But Lulu and Ash seem unimpressed. So he tries again. Still no reaction. But one chimp who refuses to be ignored is Rodders. He's set his sights on one-armed Lulu, who's easy to wind up. She tries to see him off, but has played right into his hands. Sally takes a ringside seat and is soon joined by Brian, who's given up trying to act the big man. Rodders has really annoyed Lulu now. She can be grumpy at the best of times. The 9-year-old knows better than to get caught when Lulu's on the warpath. The little chimp continues to goad Lulu. He just doesn't know when to stop. Sally has had enough and heads inside. The new playroom has been officially opened for them. Brian too sees his chance to get in there before Rodders causes chaos. Brian just can't resist trying one of his displays again. Well, they do say practice makes perfect. Rodders has realised there could be more fun inside, but is apprehensive when he sees the new room. For once, he's speechless. Everyone's still ignoring Brian, but he's oblivious. In all the chaos, no one's realised that Lulu is missing. She's a creature of habit and doesn't like change, but eventually she does poke her head in to have a look. Things finally begin to settle down, as much as they ever do in Sally's group. Lulu's making herself at home and Rodders, well, he's having a bit of me time. That won't last. Being a rescue centre, Monkey World doesn't actively breed many primates, but it is part of the European breeding programme for 3 species, which are highly endangered: orangutans, golden-cheeked gibbons, and woolly monkeys. Woolly monkeys are notoriously difficult to breed, but the park has been incredibly successful. There are only around 40 of these South American primates in captivity in the world. Half of these are here in Dorset. But with such a limited gene pool, it's essential that breeding is carefully managed. And that means now and again, the park has to let go of 1 or 2 of them. Today, Oscar is going to have to say goodbye to his son Milo and Milo's mum Lena. They're off to a zoo in Holland. 9-year-old Lena was born at Monkey World and has proved to be a great mum. It's hoped she'll have more babies in the future. Oscar himself is a very important woolly monkey.
Oscar's wild caught, which makes him very rare and valuable. With such a small population of woolly monkeys, he's not related to any of them. So genetically, he's very important to make the gene pool larger, and it means that his offspring can potentially go almost with any other woolly monkeys because they will be unrelated.
Oscar is no doubt sad to see Lena and Milo go, but another female is just arriving from Holland to take their place. She's been escorted all the way by a keeper. Woolly monkeys are prone to high blood pressure, which is dangerous for them, so it's important to keep them as calm as possible. At 5 years old, Pakaya is younger than Lena, but it's hoped she'll prove just as good a match.
Pakaya's in the house now, and she's a big, beautiful female woolly monkey. You know, she's really lovely and really dark color.
Pakaya will be kept inside for a few days to give her a chance to get used to her surroundings and her new housemates. As well as Waska, she's got females Zingu and Guapa to contend with. Although she's in a separate bedroom for now, she can see the others. Waska seems bemused to see this new female.
Waska's just the business. He's such a lovely lad. He, you know, is just up against the mesh, all puffed up, looking beautiful, not too intimidating, and certainly no threatening noises at all. Quite frankly, it's usually the ladies that cause more intense trouble, and already Guapa's sort of been up at the mesh, sort of having a look and looking a bit serious, but then happy chirps coming out, so it isn't alarm calls and threatening behavior. Pakaya's a big girl, so I don't think that Guapa's gonna want to mess with her. I think it'll be okay, but I suspect if anybody's gonna be a problem, it'll be Guapa.
Once Pakaya has got the lay of the land, the introductions will begin. But only time will tell if she and Waska will hit it off. Next time on Monkey Life. A surprise for the chimp team when Cherry gives birth to twins.
They can make a much better job of this than we can, so we need to leave them alone. Let them get on with it.
And concern for Patus monkey Sissy Joe when staff discover a lump on her thigh.